Hey, it's Captain Matt, Boat Buyer's Secret Weapon, author of the book Boat Buyer's Secret Weapon, available everywhere you can find books. Today we're talking how to figure out the used boat value. One of the questions I get all the time from the channel is, hey, I'm buying this boat. What's a good value? What's a good price? I don't even know where to start. Or I'm selling a boat. What should I sell it for? So here's my best advice on finding a used boat value. So the first thing you want to look at is there's really no great single source. The first is to start kind of researching, and the best industry source is J.D. Powers. That's the easiest one that's accessible to you for free. I'm going to walk you through it in just a little bit. Then go into current listings, and then if you have access to it, sold boats, and I'm also going to share how to get the best price as well. So let's start out with J.D. Powers. So J.D. Powers, it kind of depends on what you're looking for. So the easiest way, I think, to show it to you is actually go online and do a value. So I just got this email from Tony. Tony has just emailed me, said, trying to find a value of a 2021 Harris Sunliner 230, has a 225 Mercury, 55 hours, double bimini, new batteries and trailer, asking 54. So he just sent that to me on February 4th at 6 p.m. So I've been meaning to do this video. So Tony, you're getting a highlight here. You'll get this when it comes out. So a couple of things. Is one, with J.D. Powers, if the motor is part of the boat, so it's a stern drive, it's an inboard or a V-drive or a jet boat, then it's already going to be included. But on a pontoon with an outboard, you've got the boat, the value of the motor, and the value of the trailer if there's a trailer. So you've actually got three separate values in a situation like that. If you've got a stern drive with no trailer, then it'll be one value. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go power boat. And it's a real simple process. They're going to give you the makes. We know we're looking for a Harris. So let's see if they got that in here. Harris. And we're going to search. They're always going to be showing you a bunch of ads coming through. And then you pick your year. So he said, what, 2021? So we're going to search that. Then it's going to give you all of the boats that they built during this time. This is information submitted by the manufacturers. It's going to have some of the details. So we are looking for a 230 Sunliner. So we go to the Sunliners 230 Sport. Now, if you look at these little asterisks, what that's going to tell you is includes the value of an outboard motor. So this 230, it comes with an outboard, a 50 horsepower outboard. So that is not what we're looking for. The 230 Sport appears to be a tri-tune because it's got a standard motor of a 150. So we are actually going to choose the 230 Sport. So there's some art to it where you really got to know what you're looking for, and the Sport's going to be, hey, it's got a third tune. So we're going to choose that. Now this is where you're going to put in your zip code. I'm going to put in my zip code here, and then you can price with standard equipment or price with options. Here's the deal with options. If most boats have these options, then don't put it in there. So a stereo, he said new batteries. Well, most boats have batteries. The double bimini. Well, most pontoons don't have a double bimini, so you'll want to account for that. But don't double dip because they're all thrown into the average, and then it's, okay, so if you have a big option, a wakeboard tower, a power pole, a T-top, brand new electronics, that type, trolling motors, that type of thing that aren't standard, they're big extras, then you can put them in. Otherwise, just do the base boat. So we are going to use the double bimini. It's going to give you some options. We're going to go to Canvas, and we are going to go to, we're just going to add a bimini because they don't have the double bimini, but like a boat cover. Most boats have a cover that you're going to buy. Electronics, entertainment. And so you're going to put that in there. We're just going to choose the double bimini for right now. And now it's got a base 150. So we're going to say, but we've got a 225. So we're going to choose the 221 to 235. Now, if you're dealing with a stern drive, there's usually just find the band that's right for you. It may not be an exact match, but you should be able to find the band that's right for you. And then we've got a trailer. So now we've got the boat. We've accounted for the bigger horsepower trailer, our bigger horsepower outboard. We've accounted for the double bimini. Now we're going to account for the trailer. I'm going to say it's the same year. I know if it's got a 23 with a 225, it should have a tandem axle, and we're just going to put it's a 23 foot. This is a 23 foot boat, and now I'm not going to give any extras on a trailer. A trailer is a trailer is a trailer. Brand new, almost barely roadworthy. As long as it's in reasonable condition, it's going to be the value of a trailer. You aren't going to get a lot of extra for these things in the real world. Now, they're going to show them to you, but you really aren't going to get an extra $300 if it has fiberglass fenders. Just not going to happen in the real world. And if you're buying, hey, you don't want to overinflate it. So now what we've got is we've got the MSRP when it was new. We've got the low retail value. And if we look at this little thing, it says low retail is a vessel that may or not be running. Buyer can expect to invest in cosmetic and mechanical work, excessive wear and tear. Vessels not found in at dealers. Low value is not trade-in value, but it's close. So it's not the same thing, but it's when you look at a real book value that a dealer will subscribe to get, that low retail is going to be close to trade-in, although they're not identical, okay? They just happen to be similar. Then we've got the average retail. So this is, we put all the boats in, good, bad, and ugly. We've done the math, we've calculated the average, and that's it. We're accounting for those big things that are going to bring it up, accounting for those big things are going to bring it down, like it has a standard engine of a 150, but we've only got a 50 on it. That's going to bring it down. And so we've got an average retail on this boat for $46,280, and you can see what we've added. The $405 for that double bimini. That's probably about right, maybe a little bit more than it should be. The trailer, $2,500 of value, and that outboard engine from the 150, which was standard, to the 225 is actually a $4,900 bump in value. So the average retail on this boat is $46,280. Okay, now that's average. That means there's a bunch of boats that were more than that and a bunch of boats that were less than that. They give us the less than with low retail, and average retail is going to typically be 15 to 20% more. So the newer the boat, closer it's going to be to 15%. The older the boat, the closer it's going to be to 20%, because there's a bigger gap in condition of those boats, if that makes sense. All right, so when I'm looking at this, I'm going to say, all right, average retail is about 46. High retail is probably, we'll say 15%, because it's only 4 years old. What is that? 6, we'll say 6 to 7,000. So 52 to 54,000 is kind of that high retail. That's the most I would want to pay for a boat like this. And I'm probably, if I'm making an offer on this boat, I'm probably making an offer around 46,000, that average retail. If I got this boat at that, I would be super excited, assuming it's in great condition. If it's in 55 hours, double bimini, new batteries, I'm going to assume it's in really, really good condition. It's on a trailer, so it didn't sit in the water. That's going to be my starting point. Maybe 45, be a little bit more aggressive, but that's going to be a good price for a boat in great condition. If it is truly an average condition, all right, then maybe I would offer 42 and try to get a smoking deal on it, okay? So that's what I'm going to do, but that's just the first piece. Here's the thing. In boating, there weren't a whole bunch of 2021 230 Sunliners built with 225s. So we might only have a selection of, I don't know, maybe they were 150 of those boats built, right? So there's not a huge number of them to be on the resale market. So they're kind of taking a bunch of data in and coming up with their best guess. So we also then want to go to Boat Trader and say, okay, what are we finding for those boats for sale, and what's the list price? We kind of know what the bank is going to lend on. That's sort of what NADA JD Powers is all about. So now we're going to come and we're going to say, okay, we know that there's a limited number of those boats built, so we've got to sort of open our parameters to try to find some boats that are actually for sale. So we opened it up from 22 to 23. We're actually going to say 22 to 24. We're going to try to stick with Harris. We can see a 23 at 69.9, a 21 250 at 59.9, a 23 230 at 80. So we can click into these, and we got to see, does it have a trailer? What motor does it have? This one's a little bit bigger, but it's only got a 200. 66 hours. Another. Hey, what's the condition of the boat? Trailer not included. So what we're doing is we're just getting a ballpark for what's being asked on these boats. So now we know what's being asked. For a boat that's same age, smaller horsepower, no trailer, they're asking $59,900. What did I say in my scenario? I said 46. I said 52 would be a pretty good price with the trailer. So these guys are asking, this person in Chattanooga, looks like Irwin Marine, they're being really aggressive on their price. The boat's 2 feet bigger, so there is that, but it's got a smaller horsepower, and there doesn't have the double bimini, so that's a little bit. But you're using this just as a guide, and sometimes you're going to have to, open up the parameters, maybe go 1,000 miles, see if that brings in. So here's a 230. That's a 2019. Let's see what that looks like. It's on a trailer. That's got a 175 only. Let's see what it says about trailer. Price includes financing, trailer available, additional cost. So this one's $47,995. So 2 years older, a little bit smaller horsepower with only a 175 and no trailer. So I'm okay. Maybe I should be a little bit more on my high retail of where it's going to come in, but I also know that that's their asking price. That's not the bottom line number. They're going to take a discount from that, and so that's going to give me another data point. So I've got my JD Powers average value. I'm going to make my own adjustment to what high retail would be and give me a range of what's a good deal, what's a smoking deal, what I'm willing to pay, what I'm going to walk away from. And then the last thing that you're going to have is you can also look at Facebook and Craigslist and dealer listings to get that same information. If you are shopping, grab the Boat Buyers Toolkit. If you're a new boat owner, grab the Boater Bootcamp. Those are both awesome values, awesome tools to help you in your boating journey. But the other thing that's out there, it's called soldboats.com. Now this is like the MLS of boats. So same thing where realtors report their sales to a general database in the community. You subscribe to that database, and now you can pull that information of what's sold for comparables. Well, they have that in the boating industry. It's not as common where everybody reports and everybody has access. This is a subscription available to Yacht World brokers, and that's owned by Boats Group, Boat Trader, YachtWorldBoats.com, and they have to subscribe to it, and it's pretty expensive. But if you're talking about a boat that is not common, so if you're talking about a larger cruiser, if you're talking about a more specialty boat, a boat where they just don't build that many, this is a source that you can go to and get actual sales dollars to get a true comparable. And then you're doing the same thing. You're looking at options, you're looking at hours in condition, you're looking at location. One thing to note in all of this, especially with the JD Powers, is if it's a saltwater boat, okay? If it's a saltwater boat, what that's going to do, if we look, is it's actually going to adjust the valuation. And in the book, if you subscribe to the JD Powers book and you've got this big, thick thing with all these numbers in that you find the boat and do this manually, if that's the case, it says in the very index, for saltwater, adjust price negative 10 to 15%. So if it's a saltwater boat, it automatically takes it down 10 to 15% of whatever this average is, okay? So keep that in mind. If you're looking at a used boat that's a saltwater boat, that's going to take it down 10 to 15% because saltwater is just a harsh environment for all boats, okay? So sold boats, if you're buying a boat from a dealer or a broker, they should be able to pull this up. If you're buying from a private seller and you have a relationship with the broker, they may be willing to pull it up. But again, this is a very expensive thing and it's somewhat time consuming to use. And so they're not really just going to give it to the general public for free. But it is something that's out there, something that the industry uses when they're pricing less common boats, typically higher end boats as well. Now, if you're shopping for a boat and you want to make sure that you don't pay too much, hey, do all this research. We also have our magic money saving method for buying your perfect boat that's inside the Boat Buyer Academy. It's just a piece of it, a free bonus. So you can go to boatbuyeracademy.com and pick that up. Tons of value on finding the right boat, shopping, inspecting, because even the best price on a boat is a bad deal if it's a bad boat. If the boat's got issues, if it doesn't fit what you need, if you overpay for it, all of those things come into play, and that's why we put this information together. If you found this video valuable, give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment if you have other sources, but this is going to help you make sure that you know what the value is, and remember, life truly is better on a boat.